Reactor, roll out.
The gaming industry isn't too big on risk-taking, and who can blame them? Since video games cost millions and millions of dollars to make nowadays, it would be safe to keep developing sequels of an already well-established franchise. Battlefield is a series already loved by many, but with the last game taking place in modern times, it's a wonder why they would want the next one to take place over 100 years prior. See Battlefield 1, technically the 5th entry in the mainline series, only this time it takes place in a war that's practically never been visited in an FPS, World War I. With most first-person shooters wanting to go for a more futuristic setting, it looks like the developers at DICE at one time decided to go back to the World War II genre, but then one person in the room said, "Hey, why stop there?" This had me thinking if World War I was even suitable for a first-person shooter. I mean, wasn't it just trenches and stuff and things? And I really ought to talk to my old high school professors about that. My main interest in Battlefield 1 lied in the campaign. For too long I have been disappointed by many single-player modes in games that focus on multiplayer. This includes Battlefield. With this setting, there is much better potential for a story that hits the mark. Battlefield 1's single-player is better than the previous installments, but that unfortunately isn't saying much. Before the menu even pops up, you're automatically thrown into the story with a prologue mission serving to demonstrate the brutality of the Great War. You, the player, take control of various soldiers throughout one battle as you witness them die. All of this is being narrated by a survivor of the battle who happens to be a Harlem Hellfighter. He is also the one who narrates the rest of the game, or rather his perspective on the war before you take on another mission.
Before I got to Europe, I had never seen an aeroplane in real life. High above, they twisted and turned like flocks of birds dancing.
These missions are called war stories, and they cover different characters in different areas of the war. The only thing these stories have in common is that they all took place during World War I. They do not intersect with one another at any point, and that's perfectly okay. What's not okay is that there's only 5 of these war stories, if you don't count the prologue, and they only take about an hour to beat on the normal difficulty. Do the math. If the content within these missions are great, then there is no reason to be upset. I do like the idea of having self-contained stories within these levels. From an American who gambled his way into becoming a pilot, to a fierce warrior assisting Lawrence of Arabia in protecting her homeland, there is not one unlikable member in this cast. My complaint is that these stories were way too short, as I wanted to see these characters grow and develop even further. It's kind of a hit and a miss if you think about it. Even though the campaign is slightly above average, I do appreciate the theme of it all. It's not about some generic soldier trying to reach an objective, it's about the impact the Great War had on the people who fought in it and the world in general. Sometimes it gets a little too preachy, but in the end, it's all about the emotion, and I did get a little choked up during some parts. I wouldn't call it amazing, but I wouldn't say it's forgettable either. I also have to appreciate the music, especially the main theme. It actually sounds like this now. More so than this. When I actually got around to playing the war stories, that's when some more problems arose. You're able to choose which order you play the missions in, but starting from 1 to 5 isn't the best option. The first mission has you controlling a tank, and when you're outside of it during certain segments, stealth comes into play. Here's a little tip for you future game designers out there. If your game is not designed around stealth, don't put stealth in it. Stealth areas are not necessarily forced, as you can go guns a-blazing all you want, but some places are painfully difficult if you don't sneak around. Maybe that's because I played the first mission on hard instead of normal, but in my defense, it wouldn't let me lower the difficulty once I started. You can use bullet shells to lure enemy soldiers to certain areas so you can either sneak past them or take them out quietly. Get this though, they taught me how to do that in the second mission and not the first. Why they didn't put a tutorial in the first one, I have no idea. Since Battlefield 1 is running on the Frostbite engine, you can expect some breathtaking visuals along with fantastic set pieces and music that are some of the best I've ever seen and heard in the series. My PC was able to handle the campaign at max settings, but my playthrough was far from perfect. Along with some weird glitches came the very frequent crashes that would happen randomly or when a pre-rendered cutscene ended. It would then tell me to make sure I have a graphics card with at least 1024 megabytes of VRAM along with the latest drivers. I certainly hope we see some new drivers around release day, or else other PC players will bear witness to the same frustrations. You know, PC Master Race. Eat your heart out, console peasants. Battlefield has always been about the online multiplayer. It wasn't until the Bad Company games that we actually got a single-player mode to begin with. Does the World War I setting make any drastic changes to the formula we love and know so much? Veterans of the games will be happy to know that the core gameplay remains the same, just with a couple of changes in terms of equipment and, of course, maps. Included are weapons that were unique to the times of World War I. You're able to buy more guns and equipment using war bonds rewarded to you within each rank. In traditional Battlefield fashion, maps are designed with openness and large player count in mind, but this will make more players prone to snipers, and it only makes it worse that the majority of guns in this game are rifles that can be used at long range. Featured are traditional game modes such as Conquest, Rush, and Domination, with new ones like War Pigeon and Operations. Operations was the one that garnered my attention, as these 40 or 64 player battles can span multiple maps with multiple objectives. Would have been great if I was able to get into a match. Every time I tried to start a game up, only about 5 people maximum would be playing, which isn't even close to enough to make things interesting. I also couldn't find a full server for Team Deathmatch or War Pigeons. Granted, the player base should pick up once the game officially releases, but for reviewers' sake, this is a bummer. Here's the thing though, I don't enjoy Battlefield 1's multiplayer, and I can't exactly pinpoint why. While online shooters aren't my forte, there is something I find incredibly displeasing about Battlefield. Maybe it's because I've been playing the same kind of game since Battlefield 4, only between now and then we've had Star Wars Battlefront made by the same people, and Battlefield Hardline made by different people, but it still feels like the same game, and it's tiring. I'm tired. Help me. Battlefield 1 can be described in a single word: average. I do not know how accurate the game is to the actual World War I, but I don't know enough about world history to dispute any of it. One thing is for certain though, Battlefield 1, despite its big risk in setting, does not take any more risks beyond that and is therefore uninteresting. This applies to the campaign and the multiplayer. If you're a fan of the series and haven't been disappointed yet, then it's safe to say you'll enjoy this installment. Otherwise, Battlefield 1 is just another average first-person shooter. Nothing more, nothing less. And it is with an empty heart that I have to give Battlefield 1 3 atoms out of 5. Hey guys, thanks again for watching our review of Battlefield 1. If you want to see more content on not just games, but movies, TV shows, comics, you name it, hit that subscribe button and visit us at nerdreactor.com. But in the meantime, I'm Joey Ferris. This is Nerd Reactor. Roll out.